If you've been watching our videos and you already know that there are just some ridiculous overpowered things you can do in Galatune. It's a lot of fun. You can, even though the average attack is about a 3, you can combo up to where you're dealing out thousands of HP worth of damage, or even hit infinite damage, or even break beyond infinity and do multiples of infinity, or like 10 times infinity plus 40 damage. All that is possible and ridiculous and very anime. But out of all those extremely overpowered things you can do, what is the single most powerful card in Galatune? If you're a Galatune fan, you probably already know, but it's the dreaded Savage Creed. So Savage Creed is a really interesting boost card that's included with our Cosmic Deception expansion. And this is so powerful that this is literally the strongest card we will ever make in the game. So you probably don't want to use this card in your deck that often. Remember, in Galatune, you can build out the host deck any way that you want. So you can cherry pick which cards you want in your game to set your game balance. And this is one that's just ridiculously overpowered on purpose. Still, it can be fun if you sneak it into your deck, and then it's kind of like a Russian roulette of when this thing comes out and causes utter chaos. But let's get down to it. So Savage Creed, it's a boost card, but what it does is just phenomenal. If you play this boost onto a character, that character then becomes able to literally create and destroy game rules at will. You can do anything you want to. Just let me read this ridiculous thing. Beginning at the start of the next action phase, the target may disregard all game rules and create new game rules at will. Limited only by the imagination, you may instantly win the game, make yourself invincible, transform the battle into a game of checkers, or do absolutely anything. So yeah, when you pull this card and you play it on yourself, you could just literally say, all right, game over, I win. But that said, our Galatune players tend to be a lot more creative. Honestly, I very rarely see this card used for an instant win because it's so much more fun to do other things. Like you could throw down the card and just make up your own custom game rules that are in effect right after that. You could say everything you do is infinite damage. You could say your character is unkillable, but cannot gain victory points. So you can set your own handicaps if you want, just to set an interesting game format. I've seen one really noble person do it this way. They actually play Savage Creed and use the power to banish this card from the game. Really noble to give up power like that. Here's my personal favorite use of Savage Creed. So I'll play Savage Creed and say that you're now able to play cards from other card games. So I might pull in literally a Pokemon card or a Yu-Gi-Oh card and start playing it literally. So like in Galatune, your average health is about a 10. So if I pull out a Pokemon card like this with 120 HP, this thing's pretty powerful. And then Mew EX has the versatile ability, so it can use the attacks of any other player on the field. So I thought that's a fun one. I could like drop in my Mew and start attacking using my opponent abilities. Or you can drop in a Yu-Gi-Oh card, and those things are even more nuts because they tend to attack in the hundreds or even thousands of HP worth. Now, as powerful as Savage Creed is, even if you choose to play with it, it can be difficult to pull off because if you read, it does have one really strong limitation. This card can be canceled by any trap, regardless of that trap's stated effects. So you don't even need a trap card that can target this. For instance, here's a trap that can only trap a shield. So if I were to play Savage Creed and someone has traps a shield, even though this is not a shield, they could instantly pull it out to cancel my Savage Creed. All it takes is one trap, any trap, to shut down this card. So even if this is in your deck and this shows up in your hand, the only way it's going to be playable is if you could somehow table talk so that the other players allow you to play it, or if you've worked really hard to strategically eliminate all of your opponent's traps. But there is a counter to that counter also. Fated Junction is a really interesting trap card. You could play this trap card to change the results of coin flips and dice rolls, but it has a secondary use too. And if you see here, you can actually discard this card from your hand while playing Savage Creed to make Savage Creed trap proof. How nuts is that? So if you have both of these cards in your hand, that's pretty much a guaranteed win. You just play both of these cards at the same time, and thanks to Fated Junction, your Savage Creed is then trap proof and no one can shut you down. Fated Junction is one of our promo cards. It's exclusive when you buy one of our Muffin coins. So if you pick up one of our Galatune coins, you'll get Fated Junction card along with that. But again, these are very overpowered cards, so you may or may not want to use them in your deck depending on how serious of a game you have. If I'm just playing a casual game with friends, I'll usually include these cards in the deck just for fun. But again, these are cards you'll probably very rarely, if ever, see in a tournament setting.